Hey, how are you? Good morning. ELF Live Monday show, the recap. As you guys can see, I'm here in a new setup, my new apartment coming to you live from Heidelberg, Germany. Beautiful city, but I'm not here alone, of course. I am with my main man, Matt Bressington, to talk a little ELF football, week 13. As you see down below, it provided some clarity. We've got some interesting storylines going on that happened to come to a head here in week 13. And we're very excited to talk about some of these. We had 2 overtime games as well. Some exciting stuff. Sure, we had some duds, but we had some exciting football as well. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. I had moments to think about the weekend's games, the tragedies that have ensued against the Prague Lions. But I'm really looking forward to the playoffs, all jokes aside. Like, this is the most competitive race for the playoffs I maybe have ever seen in just competitive sports. I'm not going to lie. Like, there's so many different combinations. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, give a little bit of clarity on what needs to happen in week 14 for these teams who are on the cusp of playoffs. We're going to give you a little bit of clarity on that because anything can happen. We're going to look at the playoff picture here later in the show. Everybody in the chat, welcome. We're live on multiple platforms. Put your comments in there. You guys know the drill. This is an interactive show. And on Mondays, of course, we need you to help us decide who's going to be nominated for MVP. Right, Matthew?
Absolutely. And there's a lot to choose for. I can't lie. This one's been a hard one. So chat's going to have to come through clutch here.
It's kind of a tough one. Karen does say, Matt, you doing okay after that Prague loss? It was a heartbreaker, let's call it.
Yeah, that was sad. It was a good game though. I'm happy that we lost in a very good game. I'd rather lose in a close one and get blown out or win by like a million. It just wouldn't be as fun, you know?
Absolutely. And the story of the Prague Lions this season is an absolute magical one. Absolutely. As it currently is. All right. So a week to remember. Let's get into some of these individual games. Let's start off with one of our overtime games and a very, very happy result for the Fehérvár Enthroners coming in winless. And I believe it was over 380 days, Matt, since they had won a game, pushing the Berlin Thunder to overtime and escaping with the field goal overtime win. Absolutely awesome. Matt, what'd you make of this?
Man, there was a lot going on in this one. This was the John Cole game again. Like, we obviously have introduced Comeback Player of the Year award into the ELF this season, and I think he's probably the prime person for it right now. He looks incredibly primed to win that award. Like, he's been absolutely everywhere. I think they deserved it. They took the lead. They kind of let it slip because their defense got a little bit movable, let's say movable,
sure,
in the second half. It looked like they were going to blow it. I lost all hope, I'm not going to lie. Thomas, who's a very big Enthroners fan, was in the chat. Me and him were stressing. We're like, how could they blow this lead? They rally, they come back. Those incredible, they had multiple fourth down conversions and then ended up with Alex Malchow, call of the league year, maybe, for that final score. And they looked incredible. And then Berlin kind of threw it away, I feel, though, with that fake field goal. I don't know what that play was, but it didn't work out for him.
Not sure what that was, but yeah, 32 seconds left with that kind of go-ahead score to tie it up, to tie it at 31-31. Alex Malchow, this man bringing the energy on the mic, dude. I love when Malchow is on the call, and he really added to the special nature of that game, I think. And then we got Brock Pullman, man. I mean, he was pretty solid. He did only complete 50% of his passes. He threw 50 throws, 245, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He did have a little bit of yardage on the ground as well. And then, like you said, man, John Cole, how about that play from John Cole where he picked up the fumble and then just scooped? I was just like, what a heads up play. That's the type of player he is. Just like, how did you even find the ball from out there at the wide receiver position? This dude is he's something special, Matt.
Yeah, he really is. And then you had like the big plays he made, like that one. He had the 2-point conversion at the end to tie the game. Without John Cole, they wouldn't have won. With no question. He was the reason they won this game. And I think they should be looking to keep him on for next season. Personally, maybe a bit too early off-season acquisition thinking from me. But I think they should try and keep him on. It looks like he might get 1,000 yards, Nick.
Ooh, attaboy, John Cole. What do you think, Matt? Are the Fehérvár Enthroners primed for a Prague Lions-esque 2026 season? Do you think it's possible? I mean, they've shown now they've won one game, and granted, they hadn't won a game before this, but they were pretty competitive in a lot of different games, and kind of be like, there's something going on there in Fehérvár.
I agree.
What do you think?
I strongly agree. I think I call it the Prague ideology, right? You get yourself 4 E's on the offensive line. You've got some weapons because both Prague and Hungary have solid weapons at receiver. I can talk about them all day. You get yourself a quarterback that's not going to turn over the ball. You get a utility receiver like John Cole, like Willie P, and you just go for it. And I think we could see more of that blueprint transition to the Hungarian team this year because they do have some really, really homegrown, talented players in that team, especially with Alexander Borkovic and Goran Zek, being homegrown this season is massive.
Hey, absolutely, man. So good on the Fehérvár Enthroners getting their first win of the season. Berlin, not really sure what's going on. Obviously, didn't have Jacob Sullivan there, but Berlin left a little bit to be desired. But happy for the Fehérvár Enthroners, and just a thriller of a game, giving us a little bit of overtime to kick off the weekend. So Fehérvár 34, Berlin Thunder 31. Let's move on to our next game. Not too much to talk about on this one, Matt. Stuttgart Surge beating down the Cologne Centurions. This was important for the Surge because then they did clinch their division. They clinched their playoff spot, so that was big there. I got to give a little shout out to Lionel Fritzen, who came in after Riley Hennessy threw a few passes, and Lionel Fritzen was on. He was getting his Kyler Murray on, the small little wide receiver, and he was back there diming some people up. What'd you make of this game?
Yeah, like you said, I'm kind of surprised Riley was even in this game. I did not think he was going to play. I think they're going to play Lars, but they didn't. They went for Riley, which I think was a good decision. They get him warmed up with Jordan Bua, ready for the playoffs. You don't want to be sitting your starting quarterback for multiple weeks. You don't want to get him cold, out of game shape. So, it was a good thing for them. But that D-line, man, 10 sacks. I don't know if we have a record for most sacks in a single game by a single team, but that's got to be up there. The numbers are incredible. They were running riot. I mean, the Surge defensive line is one of the best in the league, and I think he made a statement with this one.
10 sacks, no matter who that's against, 10 sacks is impressive. And yeah, I like getting Jordan Bua involved a little bit. He had 3 catches, 56 yards, like getting him involved as they head into the playoff mode. I mean, this is a guy who can really contribute, and obviously coming off injuries, bounced around the league a little bit, but this is a guy that's still got something left in the tank. So Jordan Bua, as Lara says, I liked Bua. And Spike Porter says defense wins championships. Surge defense is amazing. So Stuttgart Surge clinching the division, moving to 9-2. All right, Matt, moving on to our next one on Saturday. It's an Eastern Division. The Wrocław Panthers trying to stay alive in the playoff conversation and just unable to do it. Losing 50-36 to the Vienna Vikings. Our boy Ben Holmes looking good as ever, man. Looking clean, looking nice. We see right here him, the Reese Horn, one of our favorite duos in the league. And then Ben Holmes on the trick play also, man. Sure, have a little bit of wheels there. He caught the ball and he was going. I thought he was going to cut back. What'd you make of this game?
I was about to say he's looking sprightly for a young receiver, maybe one of the up and coming receivers of the league with that one. That went for what, 50 yards? It's incredible. But this was such a fun game. I'm not gonna lie. I do felt like that Panthers drive where they started like the 50, tons of flags on both sides wasn't best. They both had more than 10 flags. A little bit of undiscipline from Vienna, some late hits, some unsportsmanlikes. That kept the Panthers in this one a little bit longer than I think they should have. Can't be doing that against those playoff caliber teams, but they did look comfortable. Panthers gave a few difficult looks, but I didn't ever feel like the Vikings were in danger of losing. You know what I mean? They kept it
right.
close. I don't think they were going to lose this one.
Yeah, although in the third quarter when the Panthers, came back from like 22-44, brought all the way back to 38-44. It's like, hey, man, you guys are staying in it here. Vikings, you got to close this out. And we did. Kari Pyrainen had 115 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Our boy Reese Horn, 142 through the air with 2 touchdowns as well. And then, of course, Beer Bomber adding a touchdown. So this is a team, I think, that's looking prime, ready for playoff mode here. They're sitting pretty with that bye week, Matt. What do you make of the Vikings right now at this point in the season? Do you feel like they've been tested enough? I know they've had the big, tough win against Paris, and they are going to play them this week again. What do you make of the Vienna Vikings right now?
Yeah, I do still think they're the most talented team on paper. You know me, I'm a player personnel guy. I'm kind of an on-paper guy when it comes to these kind of evaluations. I do still think they're the most talented team in the league. Some people are going to say Munich, I understand. Some people, like Ricardo, thinks that Munich is a mid-table team, which is just blasphemous. But The Vienna Vikings, they have talent all over. You see Lalo there, one of my favorite players in the league. He's just such an exceptional player that I think goes under the radar. Ben Holmes is amazing. Horn's amazing. Torres amazing. Beerbaumer's amazing. That defensive line's amazing. There's just talent everywhere. I don't think you could look at the Vienna Vikings and go, there's a weak spot in this positional group. Whereas I think you can with others in the league. So I do still think they are the favorites going into the playoffs.
And I also think what happened last year, it benefits them. I think that they really, really have an extra motivation of what happened in the championship game last year, coming in and kind of getting blown up on the Rhine Fire. Like, hey, this is a comeback year. They brought back like a lot of their guys, a lot of the guys that are like, hey, we're not going out that way. And so I do think that favors them coming into the playoffs. So Vienna Vikings looking pretty good here, sitting pretty 10-1 with the bye week for themselves going to the playoffs. All right, moving on. Not such an exciting one here, Matt, but it is interesting. Paris Musketeers smacking down the Helvetic Mercenaries. Helvetic Mercenaries not playing with their quarterback, and it was a brutal one for them. However, interesting situation because the Paris Musketeers are trying to get into the playoffs. They currently, as it sits, are in the playoffs. Now, let me read this to you, Matt, about what needs to happen for them to clinch it. They need to beat Vienna. Okay. That's it. They are one of the teams that control the narrative. They control their own destiny. They're playing the Vienna Vikings this week. And obviously they lost by the one score in the previous showdown. What do you make of Paris? Do you think they've got it? Will we see them in the playoffs?
Oh, man. I really don't know. I'm going to be honest. I do not know what's going to happen in this game. The first one was unpredictable. Paris and Vienna both uncharacteristically giving up a ton of points on defense. I mean, both offenses can score. But I said earlier in the week that, like, Vienna can score like that. Super easy. They can just take a ball 60 yards in 10 seconds and it's no problem. Paris don't necessarily have that same level of offensive proficiency. They don't get as hot as quickly as other teams in the league. I mean, the jerseys, don't get me wrong. I love the jerseys. The red
Those were fire.
Phenomenal. But I need to see. I know they look great in this one. They dominated. They scored 77 points. You might be thinking, Matt, what do you mean they don't get hot quickly? They scored nearly 80. But, like, I'm just still missing something from Paris. They've lost these big games, and I'm questioning that. They've lost against the Galaxy, which in hindsight is, not that bad. But at that point, it was a bit different. They lost against the Surge in one of them. They've lost against Vienna. They've had big game. They lost against Rhine as well. So, like, they've struggled to just win some of these 50-50 games, and maybe that'll benefit them in the playoffs if they make it, but they're going to have to get through Vienna, and that is incredibly hard.
It is incredibly hard. You're right, man. It is weird with Paris, because in some of those games, just like, hey, these big games, they're not able to finish, not able to get over that hump there, especially, in that second Surge game. They didn't look great. They kind of got dominated there. I know they were on the road, but then when they did play Vienna previously, I thought they looked pretty solid. Of course, unable to come away with the win here. Look who we got in the chat. Alex Malchow. He said, tell me I didn't miss the Enthroners game. Sorry to back up here, guys. We got Malchow. We were raving about you, brother. We were saying, what a great game, overtime game. And to add to the magic, Alex Malchow on the mic. You crushed it, bro. You brought a lot of electricity to that game. So we just got to give you your props on there. All right. Go back to the start of the show afterward and see all of the nice things we said about you. So Paris Musketeers, Matt Bressington with a stomping on the Helvetic Mercenaries, and they are in control of their own destiny, but it is a tough wall to get over this weekend against Vienna. All right, moving on to our next one. Boy, oh boy, Matt Bressington. Oh, this one was a good ball game. The Madrid Bravos traveling to Munich, Bavaria for the homecoming game. The Munich Ravens with those nice Bavarian flag jerseys. I personally like those a lot. What'd you think of those?
I love them. I know some people like it's diamonds, not squares, but I liked it. I thought it was good. I liked the jerseys. And not as good as Paris' ones.
Paris was, I mean, hey, it's to each his own. Paris's was flashy. Munich giving homage to their home state. I like that. Boy, oh boy, Matt, was this a great game? I mean, just back and forth, and then gosh, we had some incredible. Here we see Justin Rodney with the first score of the game. We saw some just clutch performances here. What'd you make of this one?
Well, it was a back and forth one, but I just cannot believe the Munich Ravens keep doing it every single week where they find a way to win this ones. Yeah, there's two different branches you can go off with this one, Nick, and I'm going to let you go wherever you want. Either
Sure.
their luck is running dry and they've done it a bunch of times. Surely at one point they're not going to have this opportunity. It's not going to keep happening, surely. Or they're just that good and they're going to keep doing this. This is what they're about. They've got all the experience now. They know they can be uncomfortable and still come out with a win. What do you think is going to happen? Now, I know you're the host, I'm the co-host, but I just want to know what you think because I don't really have the answers for you.
First of all, Matt, you got that wrong. Okay, you're the expert. I'm a host, and you're the expert. Okay, so we should be asking you this. You know what? Dare I say, Matt, that the Munich Ravens are not getting lucky in these end of game situations. They're clutch. We saw it against the Raiders. Russell Tabor, granted, he's 22 years old. Whatever he is, he's a child. He's a decade younger than I am. This man is poised. I know there's sometimes a little bit of a gunslinger here. They know how to win, man, in these clutch games. We were just talking about Paris, who can't win in these kind of close games. Munich's the opposite. They figure out how to win in these close games. It's like 35 seconds left, the go-ahead touchdown. I mean, it's just against a great team. So that's what I think. I think Munich's not getting lucky. The luck's not going to run out. The magic's not going to run out. I know they hate me, and this is not going to make them like me at all. But I am going to say something positive. I think that they're just a clutch team that knows how to win. What do you think?
I mean, everyone said about me underestimating them. I picked them the last 4 weeks in a row, by the way. Like, I picked them to win.
Karen's pissed at you. Here, I'll throw it up. I told you yesterday, Matt.
The one loss they got against the Surge, I picked them to win that game. So then they let me down on that one. So I don't know. I'm getting a lot of strays for not believing in the Munich Ravens. That's my mum's favorite team. If you don't know, my mum supports the Munich Ravens. So I can't really be underestimating the team. It's my mum's favorite team. So I do still love the Ravens. I love Kentrell Edison, by the way. Oh my gosh, we're talking about ELF Hall of Fame. Kentrell Edison might be in it. This is a win against Andrew Wandinger, which is huge. I think Tabor is the guy. I think he's got a ton of weapons. I'm glad to see him around in the league for a long time. I do think they've got to attack. And did you see that play call? I think with the 2-point conversion.
2-point, yeah. Hey, that guy I was catch some fire on social media. I think Coach Dan Casey is pretty big on football Twitter. He was like, "Well, this is one of the coolest 2-point plays I've ever seen." So yeah,
I think Callahan needs to be in a head coaching conversation next year. That's what I think. I know we're talking about maybe next season, but like, I think he should be in a head coaching conversation. Munich have just got top to bottom, outstanding staff, outstanding players. I think they can run a deep run. I know Elafopedia isn't a massive fan of them at the moment. I know Ricardo is not a fan of them at all. But, like, I think this team is great.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about the Madrid Bravos here because they're still in the playoff conversation. We're going to look at the current bracket. As it sits today, the Madrid Bravos are on the outside looking in, Matt. But here is what needs to happen for them to get in. They need to beat Frankfurt, and Nordic needs to beat Rhine, or they need to beat Frankfurt, and Vienna needs to beat Paris. Okay, so first things first, they have to get back through Jameson, Wang, and the Frankfurt Galaxy. They got to win that, and then they've got to be watching one of these games. Which of these do you think is more likely for them? Nordic to beat Rhine or Vienna to beat Paris?
I think Nordic to beat Rhine is more likely for me. I know I'm going to have a lot of people messaging me about that one, but like either one of those could happen. I think this is a potential position where both of the underdogs in Paris and Rhine could both beat the favorites. So I think Madrid, out of all these teams that are in the mix, have potentially the best chance on paper of making it to the playoffs. I do think they can beat the Galaxy. Galaxy, phenomenal team, don't get me wrong. But I do favor Madrid in that rematch. And I think one of those games is going to have an upset winner. You heard it here first, Nick. One of those games is going to have an upset winner.
I'm not going to push back on that at all, Matt. I mean, the first time these two sets of teams played each other, they were great games. I mean, the Nordic Rhine game, I got to call that a couple of weeks ago. That was a great close game. Nordic had to come back and win that. And then obviously we're just talking about the Vienna Paris first matchup. Very good game, one-score game. So I think it's very plausible that's one or both of those things could happen. First things first, though, the Madrid Bravos have to take care of Frankfurt. And I just want to give a shout out here. Justice Seelig, man, I love watching this kid play football. This dude can stop on a dime. He is very, very talented. We talked about how he has multiple Division I offers right now. I just think he's a young, bright spot in the league. I really like watching him play, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I've seen him in person live when he was in the NFL Academy. It was a treat. I literally said to a coach that was next to me in Bristol, I was like, that guy, he's going to be a D1 player. And they're like, sure. And I'm like, no, he is going to be a D1 player. Watch him go crazy. he has. I'm very happy. Vindication, Nick, is the best thing for a scout when you say a guy's going to be good and they turn out to be great. So I'm very happy.
Vindicated. Karen says Coach Ellison and Coach Callahan, best coach combo in the league. Well, they're looking pretty good right now. What's ELF or Spike Porter says? ELFPD, I fully agree. The defense is the key to the championship game this year in Stuttgart. It's going to be a defensive battle at MHP Arena. Okay. All right. So there we have it. The Munich Ravens moving to 10-1 in a thriller last second touchdown win. Russell Tabor, Mr. Clutch. Okay. The Munich Ravens. And Madrid Bravo's still in it. And we'll see what happens this weekend. Moving on to our next game. The Hamburg Sea Devils, the rematch against the Nordic Storm. First time these two teams played, Matt, it was weird. We were surprised. Hamburg played Nordic pretty well. Wow, what's going on here? Nordic kind of shut up some of those naysayers, I guess, on this rematch here. What do you make of this one? How do you feel about Nordic coming into this last week and this playoff time?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they did do some silencing potentially, but I don't know, Nick. I'm still a little bit on the fence with the Nordic Storm.
I know you are.
Their schedule is kind, let's be honest. Hamburg have had issues this season when it comes to, the amount of unluckiness they've had at quarterback, regardless of anything else. They've been very unlucky with quarterback injuries. They've had several. Run game wasn't really working as well in this one. And we all agree that Nordic is a very talented team. We just want to see them play against a potential playoff contender. And they haven't really had that very much this year. So I'm still withholding judgment. Bolio's been great, potential all-star receiver. Andrea Botello Moreno probably is the first-team all-star at tight end. He's on a phenomenal running forward. Just can't stop scoring at the moment. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think of them.
Yeah.
They give me maybe first-round exit vibes. I know that's going to get clipped to high hell if that's wrong. But, I don't know, man. I'm just not with it.
You're not. I don't think you're crazy there because, we would like to see them against a little bit more playoff competition. Granted, okay, the Rhine Fire are currently a playoff team. They did beat them, but they did have to come from behind to beat them. They did get stomped out by Frankfurt, who's maybe a playoff team. So that's a little bit weird here. So I don't know. We'll see. So I am kind of with you right on that. I would just say I have to withhold judgment. I don't know. They're sort of a mystery box for me coming into the playoffs. Are they legit, or are they a first round exit? Jadrian had another great game, 316 yards, 5 touchdowns. We were talking about it before the show, Matt. Is Jadrian going to be an all-star? You can only have two all-stars at quarterback. Okay. Do you think that he's going to be an all-star this year?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. Me and Jay got a lot of love for Jay, but I think at the moment he's on the outside looking in. I'm going to be honest, because you've got 3 quarterbacks. Let's be honest. You got Reed Sinnott, you got Ben Holmes, you got Jadrian Clark. All of them have been outstanding. All of them 40+ touchdowns, efficient numbers. All going to be playoff teams, maybe. Phenomenal seasons for all around. No one's going to question it. But you only get 2, like you said. So one of them is going to have to be outside looking in. Currently, that game against the Galaxy is a bit of a thorn in the foot of Jadrian Clark. You say it's only one bad game. I point to you and say, what other bad games have anyone else had in that conversation? Sinnott's not really had a bad game this year. Ben Holmes as well, not really had a bad game this year. So, at the moment, it's going to be those 2. I'm up for change. Don't get me wrong. Jadrian has a crazy one. I'm up for change. But, all right. You know what I mean? You had that crazy game in Berlin. We also had a not great
Chat,
game.
Matt, your chat's on fire right here. Mal Chow, first of all, is saying Jay Clark is an all-star. Come on, boys. He's saying Clark and Holmes. Well, hey, Alex Malchow, what about Reed Sinnott? Okay, those are 2 great quarterbacks, but Sinnott is having a historic. He just broke the record, so Sinnott's got to be in there. Okay, ELFpedia, Sinnott and Wang. Hey, if Wang was playing the whole season, maybe we're having a different conversation. I love Jamison Wang. Dude is he's a great quarterback. So that's going to be interesting. Jadrian, take this, clip it, hang it up on your fridge. That Matt Bressington said maybe you won't be an all-star. Okay, I know you guys, buddy. We love. I know we love all of our great quarterbacks. But hey, this just goes to show. This just speaks to the level of competition. We got some talented quarterbacks in this league, man. We got some talented quarterbacks. So Nordic Storm sitting at 10-1 after beating the Hamburg Sea Devils. All right, Matt. Okay, get your tissue box ready. Okay, because I know there might be some tears on this one. Boy, oh boy, was it a beautiful game, though, my friend. It was a beautiful game. I know you guys came out on the wrong side, but wow, this was fun. let's be delicate here as we talk. I don't want you to get too upset. Talk to me about this game. What'd you see? What happened?
See, I'm actually going to come in with a bit more of a positive approach on this one, Nick. Bit more positive. For me,
Okay.
all-star selection-wise, Prague have at least 3 or 4 all-stars. Ken
Okay.
Hike, I want to see him as an all-star. Arthur Kingdom, I want to see him. Jakub Smutny, also an all-star. Willie P, all-star. We're talking about all-stars. Those guys. Adam Zuzelka, even potentially an all-star, and on a big run in this one. Usually a bit of a battering ram running back, but came out for a big, long touchdown against the Galaxy. Prague ran the ball really well, struggled to pass it, was quite efficient. They were good in this game. Like, they didn't look like they were struggling that much. But of course, Wang and Bijan, man. I've seen the movie before with Bijan. I knew what was going to happen with him. We knew. Honestly, I think both of us were a bit confused. He wasn't picked up at the start of the year. I don't know why. I could go on about scouting forever, but I don't know how he was left this long without a team. We knew this was going to happen with him. He was going to be a turnaround player. But Wang, he has been phenomenal this year. He's been excellent.
Has there been a more impactful midseason signing combo than Wang and Brevin Easton? I mean Brevin Easton went 131 for 2 touchdowns also.
Absolutely. The turnaround of the Galaxy, man, like you say, Easton, I mean, there's so much to really talk about. I didn't even get onto him at the moment, but like Kevin Kaya as well. I know he's not a mid-season addition. Some of the best hands, if not the best hands in the entire league. This offensive line's great. Keanu Ebanks, offensive lineman of the year. I think he's probably my personal favorite for that at the moment. The Galaxy turnaround, man. I might just make a video, Nick, about just how weird the Galaxy season's been. Like,
so weird.
Started hot, cooled off a lot, and then they get hot again, and now they make the playoffs. They had what, a 0.17% chance, and now they're like what, 30% chance?
Well, let's talk about real quick before we talk about the playoff picture there. ELFpedia says Wong. It's Wong. Okay, do we have the correct pronunciation for Jameson's last name?
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing a bunch. It's spelled W-A-N-G, which would read Wang, but we're hearing Wong. So can we get a pronunciation, a phonetic guide, ELFpedia? Thank you. All right. Yeah. Because we do not want to disrespect the man who has come and stormed onto the scene of the ELF and lit up our TV screens. Been exciting to watch. He deserves to have his name pronounced correctly. Okay. Frankfurt, here's the situation for them to make the playoffs. And Matt, you just said they came up from a 1%, less than 1% chance a week ago. Mm-hmm. All right. They have to beat Madrid. Now, we were just talking about Madrid has to beat Frankfurt. That's going to be a great game. That's going to be a high-stakes game. So they have to do that, and Nordic needs to beat Rhine, or Vienna needs to beat Paris. Essentially the same situation as Madrid is in, right? So what do you think? Who is more likely to get in, Frankfurt or Madrid?
Oh, man. I think, oh my gosh, that's such a question. I mean, if you're going to go for the hot team right now, you pick the Galaxy. If you want to go for, like, don't take this the wrong way, the more talented team, you probably go for Madrid. I think Madrid have better coaching as well, personally. I mean, we saw some, like, the Galaxy calling a timeout or a challenge flag on, like, a play that was already reviewed, so they lost a timeout. Stuff like that, I think, is still leaving me a little bit questionable of, like, them coming into this next game with a full confidence. I'm just a little bit weird. I still Galaxy, man, I don't know, to buy stock or sell stock. Like, they were so good, then they were so bad, and then they were so good. So are they going to be bad again now? Are they going to be good for the last game of the year? Like, can they withhold Crookshank for that? Because this is also, he's what, 5 yards off getting the all-time receiver record? Like, and now if they're going to be able to stop him doing that, of course, only 5 yards, that'd be kind of monstrous. But also personal foul flags and stuff like that they just keep getting random things for. So I'm going to favor Madrid in this matchup. I know that's going to spark a few comments from the Galaxy, but
Malchow says, are the Galaxy the hottest team in the league? If we're talking about terms of momentum, I think they're definitely in the conversation. Shout out to Spike Porter. I love the high budget background. Maxie, can you give me a wide here? It says, I love the high budget backgrounds. They spare no cost on this show. High budget background. Thank you. Thank you very much, Spike. Interesting, Matt. That's going to be an exciting one. This is what we're talking about, man. It's just a lot of different stuff can go down. It's crazy to see the Frankfurt Galaxy. Confusing, exciting, don't know what to make of them. But hey, what's the ELFPD in the chat say? Would a top team go to overtime versus Prague? Answer this, and you got it. Well, Matt, what do you say?
I mean, Prague, they had a good year. They were still in playoff contention. We went 1-2. This is why I'm going to go. EFP's being mean to me, so I'm going to go on a bit of a tirade anyway.
Sure.
Prague went on rivalry runs, like 1-1 with Hamburg and the Panthers and with the Galaxy. Like, this is a fun team I look forward to. So we don't want to critique. It was a good game. I mean, damn, like people have lost the Galaxy and Prague have beaten the Galaxy and they beat them convincingly. If you're going to go points combined, Prague still win. I'm just putting that out there.
It's interesting here. And hey, man, we're just a lot of stuff can go on, man. A lot of stuff can go on. We're in an exciting time.
Maxie just sent me a message on the produce thing saying that Madrid would be handling business like playoff teams would, but it would be fun to see, man. I'd still like to see it. Now, I'm a believer, but like,
man, we'll see. We're gonna see. All right, so a lot of stuff going on there with the Frankfurt Galaxy and perhaps the Prague Lions for the season that they have had. Moving on to our last game here, the Raiders T-roll traveling to Duisburg, Germany to play the Rhine Fire. They surprisingly beat them in the first matchup. I think a lot of people were surprised. Granted, it was in Innsbruck. That's a tough place to play. Loud crowd there. Could not get the job done this week against the Rhine Fire. They are officially out of playoff contention. Rhine Fire are currently sitting pretty in the playoffs, Matt, but there is still some shuffling that could happen. What'd you make of this game, man? And the Rhine Fire in general, man, right now?
I mean, they looked efficient on offense. I'm not going to lie. It was a very delightful performance from the Rhine Fire offense. They looked back in full gear. Shadowhat being now the OC for the team. Kind of mad. I actually said in the group chat this week, I think if anyone's got a best chance of being the best coach that was a former player, it might be Rohat. He's had time with Andrew. He's had time with Tom Sula. He's been time with Jay and with Jeffries and with all these great offensive linemen and receivers. So I think he's the future of that. Maybe it's that OC position potentially if he wants to be. But they did look great. Defense struggled a little bit early in maintaining the run, but that's expected against the Raiders. Sullivan had a great game as a receiver. Perry started hot, cooled off later, but I think the Fire looked great. I think they looked like a team that wants to be in the playoffs, and that's, for me, a big deal because if they looked a little bit flat, maybe a bit defeated, I wouldn't have been picking them to maybe upset the Storm. But they look like they have a little bit of energy, a little bit of fire, if you will, to get maybe back into that playoff race.
I like that fire pun right there. Jamal says the three-peat is still alive. This is interesting, man, because I do think teams are underestimating the Rhine Fire a little bit. I think they need to figure out themselves this year, new identity, new big faces and everything like that, new quarterback. Chad's looking good. He went 20 for 29, 318 yards, no picks, 4 touchdowns. Like, I think they're starting to operate in Rhine Fire fashion. You're kind of at the perfect time in the season. Now, for them to make the playoffs, like I said, they're currently sitting in pretty right now. If they beat Nordic, they're in. They can also lose to Nordic. And if Vienna beats Paris, then they remain in. So they've got a pretty good situation. They control their own destiny, but even if they lose, they have a chance if Vienna can take care of business against Paris. So that's where they're sitting right now. What do you make of them, though, just strength-wise? Like, say they do get into playoffs right now. And Maxie, I mean, that's maybe you can throw up the bracket so we can talk about playoffs here. Because this is our final game. What do you there you have it right now. So as sitting right here, they're in, and they would play the Stuttgart Surge. What do you make of them against other playoff teams?
Yes, like a tentative. I think they would be pretty competitive. They have a great quarterback. Jonathan Scott looks like he's being used a lot more effectively than he was. Haaland's hit incredible form over the last couple of weeks. What's he got, like 9 touchdowns in 2 weeks?
Yeah, Harlan went. I mean, we didn't even say that. He went 11 catches, 178, and 3 touchdowns.
So yeah, he was incredible. So like they're hitting the best form at the best time. Against the Surge, rematch the semifinal game. That was incredible. One of the best games in the ELF history. For the Rhine Fire, it could be doing a double over the Surge. For the Surge, it could be exercising demons on the way to a championship game in their home city. So there's a lot of storylines going in. I actually kind of want them to make it just so we can have that like storyline.
We'll check in. I got to check in with the ELF script writers to see if they are putting the Surge in the championship game. We'll check in on that. Not sure what the script says here. Karen says no way that the Rhine Fire are hitting the 3-peat as long as Munich is playing the way that they are. Munich is looking pretty good right there, but who knows? I don't know. I mean, just we will see. The Rhein Fire do have a lot of experience there, and they're hearing a lot of people doubt them. I would say also. I think this is also they've got a little chip on their shoulder, which is interesting because in years past the Rhein Fire haven't really had a chip on their shoulder. So you got this team, and then now maybe this extra added motivation. Who knows? But this is what the playoffs look like right now. And then we talked about all the different scenarios. We got 4 teams fighting for 2 playoff spots. Matt, who do you want to see in? Are you sad that right now Madrid's not in? Would you like to see Madrid in? Would you like to see Frankfurt in? Or do you like these 6 teams?
I would like to see Madrid in. That's the team I'm missing most. If you tell me or ask me to say who do you want out, I don't think I can give you an answer because I kind of want all of them in. But like, this goes back to last week's question of the week where we said about 8 teams going in the playoffs. But like, oh man, did Paris go out? Got Madrid in. Madrid versus Storm would be really, really fun. I can't lie. I know that Jamal just put up, if you're Nordic, do you rest your players next week? And I say absolutely no, because they want to get that 1 seed. However, I mean, last time they had that like impromptu bye week because Helvetic, they looked really poor coming out of that. So maybe you want to keep a little bit of form together. Maybe they do rest. But man, I think I'd like to see Madrid in. If I was going to have to pick gun to my head about who I would take out, it would currently be the Paris Musketeers.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. El Trace 1337 says, give me the Bravos instead of the Fire. Interesting here. Nobody's talking about Frankfurt. Does anybody want to see Frankfurt in there? It feels like Frankfurt's getting no love. Like we said, perhaps the hottest team in the ELF right now. Should they not be in the conversation?
True. I mean, that would be fun. Surge versus them would be interesting. But then I don't know, man. They played a lot of these teams before, so
that's true.
They'd be going into the underdogs for sure.
I'll tell you what, I don't really want to see Surge and Rhein Fire in the semis. We've seen that. I mean, maybe the Surge want that. Maybe the Surge want that so they can, like you said, exercise their demons. It's like, I would love to see the Surge play Nordic. That would be interesting to me. Obviously, I don't want to see them play Paris again. They've already done that twice this year. I guess I would just love to see the Surge play a Nordic or play a Madrid, perhaps. That might be fun. So, hey, but in the chat, Mike Harley Jr., the Surge receiver, he was talking a little mess on social media. He commented under this and said, "Hey, Surge in 3." So he's feeling confident. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think it was Raheem as well was not too fond. I think he put like a yawning emoji on one of them. I think it was Munich. So yeah. They're kind of firing a little bit. I like it though. I like Surge being a little bit. I mean, but I want to say to Raheem, don't look at Munich when they're on the other side of the bracket currently. You got to think about teams on your kind of side of the bracket, is what I would say. However, he's a phenomenal player. I'm just putting out the facts, you know. They got to get through a few teams if they want to play Munich, let's be honest.
We just love the drama.
We do. And I think, I don't know, I'm surprised you're not fired up about Fire versus Surge. I thought you'd be. I
think, Matt, I would be more if it was the same Fire team, as if it was still the J Drink Lantuga Fire team that this Surge team has such a history with. It's such a different team that I feel like even if they were to play in the beat them and like try and exercise their demons, well, I don't know. I think they missed their opportunity to do that because that Fire team disbanded. They moved on. It's a different squad. It's a different core group kind of. So that's why I'm don't get me wrong. Still would love to watch it. But just that's why I'm not beating the drum of, hey, let's get this going. Okay. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. We could also, if Fire do win that, we get another rematch for championship game against Vienna. And if they don't,
absolutely.
Surge versus Vienna is pretty damn interesting. I know that Trez said about my bad on that one. Vienna, Munich having a bye week. I think it probably does. I'm still going to stick with those two. I do think even if Storm, I mean, it does depend obviously how the chips fall, but I'd be favoring those two to currently hold the 1 and 2.
There we go. Okay, so there we have it. That's our playoff situation here. We do have to move on to our next segment here, the Euronics and Egret fastest player. Okay, so we got this Egret scooter. It's, you guys will be seeing on Friday. I'll be showing you a little bit of that and trying to decide here who this week was the fastest player, who put on the best performance of speed in the games this weekend. And Matt, I think that we were talking about the Brevin Easton play where he took it and just tore away from everybody. Maxie, maybe you can throw that up. This right here, and there you go. There's the graphic, the fastest player of the week right there. Just a nice little quick in, and then just, sorry, Matt, I'm sorry to rehash this for the front lines for you. Alex Malchow says fastest player, Ben Holmes. Did you see that catch and run?
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I mean, ever since Dawson Dale's left the league, we're looking for a new fast player. It might be Ben Holmes. What do you think, Matt? And chat,
Yeah.
what do you guys think? Karen, of course, says Justin Rodney, the 80-yard run. Not bad. That was not bad.
I mean, that was a baller run. I'd say this was, split the seam, straight through the middle, has a burst of speed there, gets past the safety, and then outruns Ken Ike. Ken Ike's got some wheels on him too, if we're talking about fast players. So Easton, revelation. I liked his signing. He's rapid. What do you reckon? I reckon like a 4. I'm going to go. I do not know, by the way, what his official 40 is. That looks to me like a 4.42 kind of guy.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, he really pulled away from some players right there. Let's see. Malchow says Cole World, no blanket. Marcus says John Cole is quite a speedy Gonzalez. John Cole is pretty quick. Also pretty heads up. Like we were talking about that little scoop and score on the fumble. So there we have it. We've got Brevin Easton here on the graphic with the Egret scooter, probably going at least as fast as the scooter goes. Perhaps
18.6 miles an hour for those wondering.
I think he might be a little faster. I feel like he was hitting 20, 21 miles per hour, maybe.
He would get a ticket in some places in the UK, but
Hey, you don't want that. All right. So there we have it. Our Euronics and Egret fastest player of the week. Now, everybody, lock in. Okay, it's time. We're going to be talking about the MVP nominees. And Matt and I were saying, we this is a hard one, man. We don't know who we want to nominate. You guys know the drill. Spam the chat. Convince us. You guys are here to lobby for the players that you think should be MVP of the week. We do have a handful that we think should be in the conversation. If we miss some, or if you like one of them, make sure you spam the chat and tell us what you think. So who we've got. Let me start us off, Matt, in our conversation with our boy, Harlan Quofi. 11 catches, 3 touchdowns, 178 yards in the win against the Raiders. And like I said, Matt, coming off another great game for Harlan Quofi. So he's in the conversation this week.
I agree. I'm going to stick with receivers. I'm going to go for John Cole. I think even outside the stats, just the impact, the 2-point conversion, the fumble that we saw, the receiving record, like he's everywhere. He is the Enthroners offense at the moment. I think at the moment, Nick, he's probably my favorite.
Oh, like that. ELFpedia says, okay. Alex Malchow says, all right, there we go. All right. And then Karen, lock in. Your boy, Justin Rodney, 10. Oh, never mind. Sorry, Karen. Out of order. Ben Holmes. Malchow, you lock in. It's your boy. 16 for 23, 3 touchdowns, 274 yards, and the beautiful catch and run, showing off that elite speed. What do you reckon, Ben Holmes? 4.78?
Yeah, let's go with 4.78.
I think Ben would be happy if we gave him a 4.78.
I think he'd be ecstatic. I think he'd be very happy with that. I think Justin Rodney, though, is definitely in the conversation. Had that big, long run that people said could be the fastest moment in the beautiful Bavarian jerseys. Nevertheless, look at that efficiency, by the way. 10 carries, 131 yards. Obviously, had a long one, which helped, but touchdown in a very tight game. So that touchdown really did make the difference.
There we go. Malchow says for Ben Holmes, best wide receiver in the ELF, 4.1 MVP. So there we got it. Okay, next on our list, Maxie, throw it up for me. Jamison Wang or Wong, we're trying to figure it out. 32 for 41, 3 passing touchdowns, 334 yards in that overtime win to keep them alive in the playoff conversation. This man has just stormed on the scene in the back half of the season. Who we got next, Matt?
Yes, but we have a guy that's been here for a minute now. He's a veteran of the league, been in there since the very beginning. 22 for 32, 5 touchdowns, 316 yards. On his way to potentially being an MVP discussion overall for the year. Another great performance by Mr. Jadrian Clark.
Dart Clark. Okay, guys, so there we have it. Those are who we have in the conversation. If we missed anybody, spam it in the chat. If anybody you think should be nominated, also spam it in the chat. Matt, let's talk. John Cole, I think you said you like that. He's one of your favorites.
I think
I've got no problem. I've got no problem with that. Also, think about what his performance led to. Their first win in 380 plus days.
Mm-hmm.
That talk about value. That's value.
Yeah,
he offered value. So John Cole, I think, is in the conversation for us. Chat, what do we think? And Malchow spamming Jadrian. He's spamming Brett Pullman.
I don't know about that, but I think the graphic, even though he said 1 touchdown, but he got multiple, and he got the 2-point conversion, man. Like, he was so good in this game. He was everywhere. Key catches. I can't remember where it was or when it was, the time it was, but I remember it was over the middle, just that full extension catch. I believe a 4th down to keep that last drive going. The moments he had, I know I always reference when you picked Philip Hahn because of the moments.
Right.
This was one of those moments picks, but he also has the statistical numbers to back it up, and he also has a win because I know a lot of people say you can't be an MVP if you didn't win. I'm going to go for him. I think he's the guy that I would like. I'm going to use a lock-in here, Nick. I'm going to use a lock-in for John Carr. I'm going to maybe removing the democracy of this a little bit.
It's a dictatorship for at least one. Okay, we're going. I'm with you, man. We're John Cole's one of them, so we got to figure out who's the other. Hear me out. Hear me out. And I know you're going to hate this, Jameson.
I'm not going to hate that at all. He was phenomenal. Yeah, I'm not mad.
He was quite good. Clutch, overtime win.
Yeah.
Chat. What do you guys think, Jameson Wang? What do you guys think? Because you got to think. I mean, some of these other ones, Jadrian. I mean, they smashed Hamburg. Fantastic performance from Jadrian. It's like we see it every week, and they just smashed Hamburg. Ben,
maybe Harlan as well. Another hat trick by him. I know that he was incredible, but like also the competition wasn't as good for him. But still, good. But they didn't have DeJohn Walls. If I had DeJohn Walls, different story. They didn't, so I might. Harlan was great.
Yeah, Harlan was great. Rohat is in the chat. It says Harlan Quofi. Yeah, I mean, I think most people are going to vote for John Cole, but who else is going to be up? I would say I'm going to go with Wang, man. That's going to be my second nomination. Chat, Matt, do you have another one that you want to put up and we can have the chat vote on?
I think no.
no MVP, Matt.
I think no MVP. MVP was great again, but I value Wang's overtime performance, the poise in the pocket, and the big win in terms of that playoff push more than Ben Holmes having a very good, efficient performance against a team that he was always quite comfortable with. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. Always quite comfortable with. Okay. And just more stakes involved here for the Jameson Wang performance. So there we go. Jameson Wang and John Cole are going to be our nominees for MVP this week. You guys know the drill, the ELF Insta story in the next 24 hours. Go on there and vote. Give one of these boys the props that they deserve. Shout out to John Cole, man. First win. That was awesome, man. Love that.
Baller.
Love to see that. All right, everybody. There we have it. And here's just a quick look at our up next. Matt, we were talking about these. That Nordic and Rhein-Fire game, going to be clutch. Frankfurt-Madrid game, going to be clutch. Paris-Vienna game, going to be clutch. Which one are you looking forward to the most?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm going to go for Paris versus Vienna. I think low key also though, Hamburg versus Berlin. That could be a fun matchup, especially with the results of that this week. But yeah, I think I'm going to go for Paris versus Vienna. That's my game of the week. But we are treated. This is the best playoff run we've ever had, no question.
This is a great week. Those 3 games are absolutely just iconic, high profile, high stakes right here. So we got a lot of stuff can happen and a lot of things on the line. So there we have it, everybody. Thank you for watching, Matt. Pleasure as always, brother. And we will see you guys on Friday for the preview. Peace.
See you soon.